The invisible man who helped Brazil win the World Cup. The invisible guy who is fundamental to Brazil's hope World Cup 2022. Why Casemiro is fundamental to Brazil's hopes in Qatar. Gilberto Silva. It is the equal scenario now for Casemiro, the shielding midfielder who's on the coronary heart of this Brazil group seeking to seize our 20 to 12 months wait to win it once more. He has a splendid obligation in my antique function. Just as in 2002, we've lots of attackers to make the distinction this time, now no longer simply Neymar, who will leave out the relaxation of the organization level with injury. I can recognize why a few human beings simply communicate approximately that a part of our group, however, to win a World Cup, you need to do not forget the alternative components too. Whoever the supervisor chooses to play similarly ahead now, it's mild, nevertheless critical for us to be defensively strong. Right now, I suppose we've the proper balance. I am very satisfied with our lower back four and additionally with the gamers in the front of them who train the facet to be solid. This is wherein Casemiro's intelligence holds the key. The artwork of the anchor guy in Brazil's midfield. You must be clever to play as a preserving midfielder for an attack-minded facet like Brazil, and also you additionally must be patient. Let me provide an explanation for why. It isn't always pretty much being the hard participant, the only who tackles everyone. That is handiest one small part of the complete function, or even then you need to be smart to pick the proper time to in reality position to venture in. Instead, you need to study the sport and recognize wherein you need to be. That is typically with inside the center of the whole thing. Your function is the maximum critical factor. If you pick the proper line at the pitch then, from there, you may see the whole thing and notice any danger properly, maximum of the time. For me with Brazil, that typically intended having some attacking men similarly ahead and handiest the center backs at the back of me, with the fullbacks in a line among them. If you watch Casemiro, this is wherein he's too. From there, you're the only controlling things. You are on top of things while the ball is going from one facet to another even in case you do not contact it, sincerely due to the fact you're wherein you want to be. Being the Brazil participant who would not get the ball. It sounds smooth, however the hardest factor for a few gamers to recognize approximately this function is what to do whilst you do not have the ball, due to the fact on occasion on this function you do not get it as lots because the others do. You see a few gamers get distracted while that happens. They need the ball, they do not get it. So they get annoyed and lose function. That is probably handiest for a fragment of a second, however it is enough. If you vacate the distance wherein you need to be, then your group is stuck open, and your warring parties can have a chance. Casemiro in no way allow that take place towards Serbia in our starting sport in Group G, and it must be the equal whoever we play in Qatar, with Switzerland the following warring parties on Monday, 1600 hours Greenwich Mean Time. Against Serbia, it had been smooth for him to move ahead in a sport wherein we had masses of possession. However, he handiest touched the ball as soon as with inside the very last one-third of the field, while Brazil had been 2-0 up with 12 minutes to move, and he hit the bar with a shot from out of doors the area. Instead, he stored his discipline, held his territory, and turned into continually equipped in case we misplaced the ball. Even while he were given it lower back, he knew that, in his function, he did now no longer want to run with it. I turned into the equal. I continually concept that sooner or later the men up the front might lose the ball and this is the time once I must run to get it lower back, and supply it to them to attempt once more. Why Fred is the proper midfield accomplice. You cannot do all this in your own, of course. Casemiro commenced along Lucas Paqueta in Brazil's first organization sport, however he completed the sport along his traditional accomplice for the countrywide group, his Manchester United group mate Fred. I even have watched them play many suits collectively now and, for Brazil, they've misplaced handiest as soon as the 2021 Copa America very last towards Argentina. It works thoroughly due to the fact Casemiro sits on the lower back like I did, and Fred is extra mobile, like Cleverson turned into what he turned into subsequent to me in our midfield on the 2002 World Cup. But Fred is likewise defensively strong. He isn't always simply in the front of Casemiro. He performs along him too, and allows him do his job. They have a know-how now, and I'm hoping this partnership will pay things properly once more at this World Cup. If we're going to win it, it'll play such a critical part.